And we are live. Welcome to today's episode of Black Belt Startup with Ferris. Thank you for tuning in. So, what's new in the world of entrepreneurship? Lately, I've had several conversations with founders and business owners who are just stuck. Some can't quite get their business off the ground, while others have been going at it for a while, but are barely staying afloat. And as I reflected on these conversations, certain patterns became very clear in my mind. See, it's not always that the founders are doing something wrong, though in some cases, yes, they could improve on things and they can learn from their own mistakes. But what's really happening is that every services and every consulting business eventually hits the same four growth walls. One, client acquisition. Two, capacity and delivery. Three, pricing and positioning. And then a fourth wall that I'll reveal at the end. And it's one that most people overlook entirely. And in this episode, I will walk you through each of these four walls and then break down exactly how I help these founders push through, move around, or climb over each one and give you specific tips and specific strategies that you can use for your own business. And before we dive in, as always, if you have any question, if you have any comment, if you have ideas that you're not sure about, if you are struggling, if you have wins, small wins or big wins, I'd love to hear from you. Whether you are watching or listening in live or tuning in later, let me know. Leave us a comment on any of the platforms on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on X. We're there. You can email me directly at Ferris, Feras, at startupwithferris, Feras, again.com. And let me know, what is it that you're going through? Is it something to do with maybe finding the right business partner? Is it something to do with you're just afraid of going out there and pitching and getting rejections? Is it you're not sure what to do with marketing, paid ads versus doing search engine optimization? Is it you're still at this idea vetting phase? You're still not sure if you have a viable idea? Whatever the case might be, I'd love to hear from you. And what I do every other Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, I have this episode where I cover a business topic and then I answer the questions that I get from the community. My mission is to help entrepreneurs start businesses, grow and scale these businesses faster and stronger than I did, and learn from my mistakes and from the mistakes of other founders that I've worked with. So leave me a question, ask me about the challenge that you're going through, or share with me a success story. I'd love to share this with the community as well. All right, so let's go back in. Number one, client acquisition. Now I'm going to show you the questions, the scenarios that I received, and then how I helped those founders get across, get around these walls, climb over these walls, or maybe dig under these walls, but get through, break down these issues, and get them to where they are successful at what they are doing. So the first one is business owner. The business owner says, I don't have marketing money. I don't have a budget for marketing. So I can't spend on paid ads or any kind of paid marketing. I can sell, so that's good, but I can't generate leads. It seems like I have a lot of competitors. How do I stand out? So there are a couple of questions here. One is that the founder, this business owner here, they don't have a budget to spend on ads. They're good. Sounds like they're good at selling. They can sell, which is great, but they can't generate leads. So marketing is an area they have a challenge with. And then they have a lot of competitors and they're not sure how to stand out. So I'm glad you know how to sell. Most founders struggle with selling. 70% of founders start businesses and they don't have any background in sales or marketing. So the fact that you can sell is important. And this is my advice to all founders, all business owners. Don't focus too much on the things that you're weak at. You got to understand those. You got to improve those weaknesses, but also understand what you're good at. That's really important. It feels good, first of all, and then it helps you hone in. It helps you get better at it as well. So for this, in this case, if there's no money to spend on paid ads, you have to do what I learned many years ago, guerrilla marketing tactics, things that you can do without a budget. So it means that you have to put time and effort. But and then you talked about standing out. So I want to cover two things. One here is about standing out and also getting leads. So in terms of standing out, is it that you lack certifications? You are not, let's say you're in IT consulting, you don't have any maybe Cisco certifications or whichever system that you support. Is it maybe that you don't have any testimonials? You don't have any case studies? If you're just starting your business, I'm assuming that you have some skills. If you worked in corporate for 5 or 10 years, you've done work. So just because you started a business, it doesn't mean that you don't have any experience. You don't have experience in running a business, but you have skills, you have clients you've worked with. So you can share on your website, on your social media, you can share the types of problems you've solved. It doesn't matter where you've solved those problems, but you did solve problems, then you should be able to talk about those. So that's in terms of positioning, in terms of standing out. Like, what is it do I have in my portfolio? I have certifications, I have affiliations, I'm an approved and I'm a certified consultant and such. Those all help you out. And then as you start to get clients, and as I always say, for these early, you always want to make clients happy, but for the very first few clients, you want to bend over backward to make them super delighted, because you got to take care of them. That's your obligation as a vendor. But also you want their testimonials, you want their case studies, you want their referrals. So part of standing out is that other people will say great things about you. So take care of your clients. That will help you get the case studies, the testimonials, the referrals, the reviews, and then within their network, they can say good things about you. And then in terms of standing out, niching down, maybe the most overused and maybe abused word in business, niching down is important. They say, excuse me, riches in the niches. And that is very, very valid, very, very true. So if you are selling IT consulting services, as we said earlier, do you work with maybe small businesses? Do you work with schools? Do you work with nonprofits? That's narrowing down your scope. Then maybe when you talk about the problems that you solve, give that context of the types of businesses that you work with. I work with nonprofits. I understand the challenge that they have. Or I work with small businesses and they don't have anyone technical on site, so I provide on-call support. So start niching down. It could be niching down by verticals, sectors, healthcare, finance, nonprofits, what have you, or and also niching down maybe by company size, obviously by geography. So that will help you. You'll be in a smaller pond, but you could be a mid-sized fish in a smaller pond, and you'll stand out. So the certification, the testimonials, the referrals, all the case studies, all those are great. And also niching down into one specific area, especially initially, that will be super helpful. And the last thing I will say here is that you want to also be out there. You don't want to just be sitting behind a desk as a new founder, or even if you've been around for a while, and putting all these plans and all these strategies and all these ways to scale up business and the financial outlook for the next 24 months. Those are okay. You got to do these, but you have to be out there hitting the pavements. I think talking to people, real people in IRL, in real life, talking to people and understanding and watching for their body language, listening to them when you are telling them about your services, when you are telling them about your prices, what's their facial expression. So it is hard on a lot of new founders to be out there knocking on doors, and literally knocking on doors, or figuratively speaking to people. Your friend at the gym, you're out there and just chatting on the side, and tell them, hey, I started this business and I do IT consulting. And just strike a conversation and see what they tell you. See, maybe they know someone who needs that service. So being out there is really, really important in terms of getting leads. So if you're not out there, someone else is. So that's on this first scenario, first question that we had on generating leads, and also on standing out. The second question here is, this is an IT consulting. I guess we are talking to a lot of IT consulting people. So cybersecurity is a thing, and IT is a thing. So the question is about, let me just put it back on screen here for those of you watching. So they've reached, this founder, excuse me, they reached 7 figures. Congratulations. Biggest challenge, generating leads, especially direct leads in a consistent fashion. So when they say direct leads, I'm assuming they have some partnerships with others. Maybe they're getting leads through partners, but maybe they're not getting any leads through their website, their social media, or through direct ways when they market their own business. So how do we get leads? How do we get direct leads? What I answered just a minute ago is all applicable to this scenario, but I want to add a couple more things. So we talked about niching down. We talked about standing out. That's important. But one thing that you want to do is, if you were looking for direct leads and you're already at 7 figures, I'm assuming you probably exhausted your existing network, because with new founders, with new business owners, I emphasize what worked for me. Reach out to your network, to your friends, to your ex-colleagues, your ex-college roommates, anyone in your network, and let them know about the new service that the new business that you've started. And that generates momentum, and they give you feedback, and then potentially they'll refer you to people they know, because the trust is there between you and them. So that helps a lot in terms of introducing you to new business. But since you're already at 7 figures, so I'm assuming you're beyond this phase of working your network. So cold outreach is still a thing. I know we get phone calls and we get emails, and we're bombarded by emails and phone calls, and people trying to sell us things. And sometimes we get bombarded by LinkedIn messages, these sponsored messages that we get in our inboxes. I get that, but people keep on doing cold outreach because cold outreach still works. Now, we don't have to do cold calling, although it's one of the tactics. But in terms of reaching out to people, you can subscribe with services on LinkedIn, like LinkedIn Navigator, Sales Navigator, or you can use any of these systems. And I don't have any affiliations with any of these vendors, but there's Instantly, there's Apollo, several of these out there that help you. It's like access to a database, basically. They help you get information about leads. So let's say you're targeting, since it's in IT consulting, you're targeting maybe chief information officer if you're going after the enterprise, or maybe business owners if it's a small business, because business owners for small mid-sized businesses, typically they make those kind of decisions. Or maybe you're targeting COO level, or maybe you're targeting managers of IT. So you can go into these tools and get a list of you put your criteria, your filters, and these tools will give you email addresses of these people. Now, you have to do this called outreach in a structured fashion. We can discuss this in it needs its own session on how to do cold outreach properly, and how not to spam people, and what you do with maybe the sequence that you set up, the first warm sort of email, then a follow-up email, then a follow-up email, then maybe a follow-up call, maybe a ping on social media. So there's a bit of a science to it. There's a lot of art to cold outreach. But the idea here is that if you're stuck on, like, what do I do next? Then this channel, this cold outreach channel, is a valid one. Again, you want to do it with care. You don't want to spam people. And I recommend, if you have a specific question on how to do cold outreach and you don't know how, just email me. I'll send you some resources. We might have an episode on this actually, so I can point you to that. But the idea is that you can do cold outreach. It should be part of your mix when you are at 7 figures and higher. Now, another thing you can do also is, if you haven't done this, is if you have technology partners, and IT is there. But in almost every other industry, let's say you are in HR consulting, or let's say you are in finance, you use systems to support the service that you offer. So find vendors, software providers, or if there's a hardware and equipment included, find vendors who are looking for partners like yourselves or like yourself to deliver that service. A lot of technology vendors don't have professional services as an offer, so they look for a network of providers, service providers, who will service their software. So Cisco in IT, Cisco is a big name. There are other ones, but and maybe this is a crowded space. Are there any new technologies, emerging technologies, vendors, startups who are now growing in your space, in the IT consulting space that you're in, that potentially you can get to know that software very well. Potentially you can get certified on it if they have a certification process, and then you get listed on this company's list of certified partners. Trust me, this is a winning strategy. If you can get listed on a portal where you have all the approved vendors, then this technology partner will do a whole lot of marketing for you. And again, we also have an episode on how to nurture this partnership between you and the technology vendor, and it's a two-way street. You have to also promote their products. You have to know how to customize, how to implement, how to train, on their software. But if you can get listed as a certified vendor, as an approved vendor, as a qualified vendor on any of these portals for these technology providers in your space, that's more than half the battle. You get other companies promoting you, and it's a third party recommendation, because just you being listed as an approved certified vendor, it gives you a whole lot of positioning, and it makes you stand out from the rest of vendors out there who are not certified. So that's another way. So we talked about cold outreach. It's a program that you can establish. And second, you can be a certified vendor for a technology provider in your space. So those are some ideas in terms of, if you can't get direct leads. And other ideas, we can spend a whole hour on this, but other things, can you find opportunities to go where the fish are? So if there are conferences, IT consulting conferences in your area, maybe if you live in a small town, you don't have these, maybe go to a regional conference. A bit of an expense there, but it's worth it because you have potential clients there. So if you are an IT consultant and there is for example, a conference for the American Dentist Association. So potentially you can have a booth there, especially if you've done work for dentists and you understand the way dentists work and their needs. You can have a booth, or you can attend the happy hour and talk to people and have your pitch ready and show that you know the space really well. If they have privacy about health information and systems you've set up, processes around how they keep the privacy of patients intact, all that's really important to business owners, to dentists and doctors. So find places where your target audience is there, and you want to be there and want to be prepared to show them that you are knowledgeable about their domain and knowledgeable about what you offer, and establish that conversation. It's not a pitch. People say, I use the word pitch all the time, but when they pitch, it's not like a used car salesman pitching you something you don't need and something more than your budget can afford. It's really, the pitch is really more of a conversation. It's you as a salesperson, as a business owner, listening to the needs, the problems that the potential client has, and then adding value in that conversation, establishing authority that you know your domain really well, and you know their problems and the solutions to those problems really well. Good. And by the way, if you're just joining us, we are talking about the 4 walls that services and consulting businesses hit. It's a pattern out there. And so far, I've covered the very first one, and that is on how to generate leads. Generating leads is a struggle for a lot of businesses, and we are covering that as the first wall to break through. Let's go to the next question here, the next scenario. So under the same category here, generating leads, they have an engineering consulting firm. Biggest challenge is consistent leads coming in the door. Been struggling for many years. So sorry to hear about the struggle. It took me 2 years to figure out sales. I had to learn sales from the ground up, and it wasn't easy. So if you've been going at it for a number of years and you are still not getting a consistent flow of leads, you really have to assess what you're doing in your sales process today. So is it that you're not getting any leads? That's one scenario. Is it that you're not getting qualified leads? That's another scenario. Or is it that you're getting leads, you're getting qualified leads, but you're not closing these leads? So you have to assess, especially since you've been going at it for a while, look at the last 12 months. How many leads did I get? And then of those, how many I engaged in a conversation? And of those, how many I submitted a proposal to? And of those, how many did I win? If you don't have a CRM, you don't need a CRM, a customer relationship management software yet. If you're still struggling with sales and maybe you don't have a whole lot of leads, you can use a spreadsheet. We do have a CRM DIY tool that you can use, and then you can just search on our channel. It says DIY CRM. Grab it, make a copy of it, and you can use it right away. If you have a CRM, that's even better. Then you can sort by how many leads, how many qualified leads, how many leads did I convert, how many did I not convert. So I think assessing what you've been doing, and you have to be objective, you have to be honest, you have to be consistent in how you call a lead a qualified lead, and then see where the areas of improvements could be. Now, in terms of if the issue is at generating leads, then marketing. Are we out there enough? Are we networking? Are we publishing case studies? As these things I said earlier, are we trying paid ads? Is our website professional and customer friendly? So if the issue is that you're not generating leads at all, again, you have to examine marketing. If you're getting the leads and you're not converting the leads, it's more of a sales thing. And maybe I need to brush up on my sales techniques, on my sales tools, my PowerPoint, my slides, my Canva. I'll age myself. I say PowerPoint presentation, but whatever tool you use to maybe demo your product or your service, to demonstrate that you know the space really well. Make sure that you are improving, enhancing these tools, including the way you pitch and the way you convince and the way you educate, the way you negotiate. Enhancing those skills and enhancing the tools that you use in your sales process will be the answer to closing more qualified leads. All right. So it could be a marketing issue. It could be a sales issue. Without the details, I can pinpoint where the issue is, but those are the things to look for. So that is the first barrier, generating leads. The second barrier is on capacity and delivery. So we have leads, we're working, sales is happening, marketing is happening, but I have issues with capacity and with delivering the service. So let's see the scenarios and the questions we have. And again, for those of you watching live or listening, let me know what scenarios, what issues you're facing in your own business to work around or move around these walls. I'd love to hear from you and hear what worked for you and what has not worked. So the question is, the founder, in this case, they're in web development. Biggest challenge would be time. And I compensate, they don't have time. So they're spending money on paid ads and they have freelancers to do the work, but that's eating up my margins. So this founder sounds like they can generate leads, they can close deals, they have business, plus. Now, the issue is they're out of time. So I don't know if this is, you're doing this as a side hustle. If it's a side hustle, then that's one scenario. Or maybe you're just going at it full time, but you're just very busy, maybe attending to the number one client. So you are not, you don't have the bandwidth to deal with um, with doing marketing, being out there, networking, going to conferences, and then you're having other people do the work. And obviously, if you're spending money on paid ads, and then you're spending money on people to deliver the service, you will have a very low margin. That's understandable. So what do we do about it? Well, here's one thing is in my first business was a web design and digital marketing, online marketing business. It was a really tough sale. That was in 2003. Small business owners, they had no idea why what a website is and why a website would actually be helpful to the business. So we tried all sort of things. And then once we figured out how to pitch and how to convince people that, hey, this website will bring you business, we did well. And then as we did well in sales, we got in a similar situation where my co-founder and I were really busy delivering. So you end up going through this feast and famine phase. At times, you have a lot of business, you're busy delivering, you're collecting money, it's feast. And then you're so busy delivering, you're not doing any sales, you're not doing any marketing, and then it's famine. So you have to manage this. And one of the things you can do is looking at the margins. I'm glad you're looking at the margins, because looking at the revenue by itself is not sufficient. Looking at the margins. So can I, for example, this freelancer or the freelancer you're using, is there enough work now where I can bring someone in-house, a part-time initially, a part-timer initially, and later maybe a full-timer? And that will be more economical for you, because if you are working with 3 or 4 freelancers, the hourly rate would be higher than if you would have someone in-house. So that's one thing to look at. Also, if you are spending money on paid ads. So it's very paid ads work. That's why Google and Meta and now Amazon and others, they make a lot of money from ads. So ads work, but ads don't work if you go into Meta or go into Google Ads and pick a few keywords and put some copy, some text, and a couple images and click run. Google and Meta will be more than happily take that money from you and charge you $10 a day or $100 a day or $1,000 a day and serve ads. It's on you to make sure the ads are very, very well targeted. So targeting the audience, the ad copy is relevant to what you offer. And when someone clicks on the ad, they come to your landing page or to your profile. The landing page is also there. It has compelling copy, and it loads up quickly, and the creative, the design is also appealing. So when a lot of people run ads and they put them on this set and forget, and every month you see the charges on your credit card, but you're not getting the leads. Or you might be, this is the even more serious situation, you're getting some leads, but you could be spending double the money that you need to get the same number of leads. So make sure there are 2 options, no third. One, you either learn Meta or Google Ads, wherever you're spending money on paid ads, and learn the system really well so you optimize your campaigns for yourself, or find someone, not your nephew Jim or your niece Nancy, not them. They're great people, but find a professional who works with companies your size, and hopefully they have some domain knowledge about your sector, and have them run the ads for you. Yes, you have to pay these vendors a little bit of money, but the return on investment and the cost per acquisition at the end of the day will be more favorable. So if you're running paid ads, the number one thing is make sure these campaigns are fully optimized. Okay, so either you master this domain, learn it, and do the optimization yourself, or hire a professional to do this for you. So again, look at it both from how do I decrease the cost of delivery by maybe bringing these freelancers into one position in-house as a part-time or as a full-time person, and then look at the way you're spending your money on ads and see if you can optimize the campaign so you can get more bang for the bucks. Or maybe you can get the same number of leads but have the cost, and that will go directly into your margin. So hope this helps. And again, if you have more specifics, or for those of you listening and are running ads or are challenged with margins, do let me know in the comments on the type of challenges that you have, and I'll be more than happy to answer. All right, moving on to the next question. Now, remember, we talked about generating leads. That was the first wall that we broke through. And now the second wall is about capacity, about delivery. So the question is, the founder, the business owner has a growth consulting firm, and I've figured out how to market and how to sell, but I can't do it all at once. So what I answered just a little bit ago about feast and famine is an answer here to the question. It's hard to do everything at once. I get it. And if you're just starting and you now know how to market and you know where to go to find your leads and you're closing deals, that's great. But now you have to deliver. And as you start to grow, you potentially have to hire. So you end up hiring. And now you have to have systems for IT, for project management, task management, payroll, all that good stuff. So that takes time. So where is it that you put your time? I think that is a challenge that we all deal with. So what's important here is that you have to dedicate time to sales. You have to dedicate time to delivery to make sure the clients are super delighted with what you offer. And you obviously have to dedicate time to managing your team and do all the back end work, be it accounting, be it payroll. So my number one advice, and if you follow this channel, if you follow us, you know that what I'm about to say, outsource the headache. Anything that you can outsource to someone else that is not core, that's not strategic for the business, see if you can outsource. Accounting, if you're still doing accounting on your own, you're entering data, you're sending invoices, you're paying bills, you're doing payroll, that is time that is not well spent. It costs you $1. I know you got to find a bookkeeper and they have to do this on your behalf and they'll charge you a couple $100 a month. If it's a small business, that's okay, because you'll now free up time and the mental space to think about growing the business. So yes, you can do it all at once, but can you carve out things that are not strategic? When I say strategic things for your business, I mean things like finding larger clients, finding more profitable clients. Strategic things include finding the right talent, the A talent that are a prerequisite for you to grow. This is strategic. Sitting down on Friday afternoons and just reflecting on what happened this last week and what is it that you want to do better next week. These are strategic things that I want you to focus on. And by the way, we have a couple of weeks ago, we launched this Founder Focus Optimizer. It's a worksheet for you to identify where you spend your time. You have to enter that data in, and then it will calculate where the time is spent into 4 categories. And then you'll find the things that you are good at and you're doing, which I want you to keep doing. The things that you're good at, but you shouldn't be doing, outsource. And then the things that you're not good at and you should be doing, so you have to learn how to do these. And then things that you're not good at and you shouldn't be doing, and those you also have to outsource. So check out this episode on the Founder Focus Optimizer on how to optimize your time as a founder, as a business owner. Time is your most valuable asset. I'm a big believer in working really hard. I work really hard. I still do it. And if you want to grow, if you want to do something meaningful in life, you have to work hard. There's no other option. Yes, do take care of important relationships in your life. Those are important. Those are non-negotiable. But some sacrifice is needed for you to grow, to scale. So I'm all for putting a lot of time into the business that you've built and that you want to grow. At the same time, I want you to be very, very diligent. I want you to be very protective of your time. So check out this Founder Focus Optimizer, a tool that we've shared, that I've shared with the community, and download it, make a copy of it, and let me know how you can improve your the way you're spending your time, so that you are not doing everything by yourself and not doing everything all at once. All right, so now we'll move to the third wall. So we talked about generating leads. That was the first wall, and brought some scenarios and some examples from founders. We talked about pricing and delivery. That was number two. And now number three is pricing and positioning. And here's the scenario. Here's the question. I believe I have a comment here that I haven't addressed. Sorry, I just saw that. And the comment is, I missed the generating leads part. So no problem. Check it out. All these live streams and these podcasts, these episodes are available. So go back and check out the generating leads section. And if you have any questions that was not, maybe that those questions were not answered, email me or leave me a comment. I'll be more than happy to address. But thank you for your comment. So back to the question about pricing and positioning. Let's see. I started selling hourly. Okay. 10 hours at $100, that's $1,000, right? Clients were nickeling and diming the hours. Then I moved to project-based pricing and I lost my shirt. Okay, so I can't win. If I sell hourly, clients are nickeling and diming and ask me why I'm spending this much time on this task. And then if I sell a project, I'll do this. I'll provide an assessment of your HR systems and I'll charge you $5,000. Then I ended up losing my shirt. I spent double the amount of time. Basically, this is the question. I'm adding a bit more detail. So for those of you who are not maybe familiar with hourly and pricing, and Adnan, you're most welcome. Adnan, appreciate your comment. So there are different pricing models. We have actually, I have a live stream on this. There's 7 pricing models, and we talked about different strategies on when to use each of those pricing models. But since you mentioned hourly and projects, both can be very profitable. You don't have to go to advanced models like performance-based or value-based. Those are very legit, but let's just focus on hourly and on project-based. Most of these issues stem from lack of clear expectation setting. So you as a vendor, the customer, when you receive a request, when a client says, I want you to develop content for me, for my social media or for my website or for my newsletter. Let's say you're a content writer. It's on you to help the client and to educate the client on what's involved in this project. So if someone says, I'll pay you $2,000 a month and take care of my social media content. If you say yes, you are going to lose your shirt, and it's going to be a very hard lesson for you. If you say yes without understanding what's involved. Do they have every other social media platform that they want you to produce content for, or are they only active on LinkedIn? There's a huge difference in scope between me publishing daily posts on LinkedIn versus doing that and publishing on Instagram and Facebook and on YouTube and on whatever other platform they're on. Yes, you can repurpose shorts. I get that. I do it. We do it. But every platform is different. And some platforms, they change in format from text to video to images, whatever platform they use requires. So it's on you as a consultant, as a vendor, to specify the scope, to put some parameters around what you're about to deliver. So it doesn't matter if it's hourly or if it's project-based, it's on you to make sure that you define these requirements. So for example, you ask them, how many social platforms do you have? What's the frequency of updating, uploading content? Can you show me what you've done before? Or you can do that on your own. You research that before you speak with them. And then in your contract, you document these types of parameters. So I will produce 3 text posts and 1 short, 1 video short, and then 3 image or image-based content. And I will go and then deliver this. So that's Are you, for example, just producing these? Or are you also uploading these assets to social media? So all of that adds to the scope of work, meaning adds to the number of hours that you spend on this client. So again, whether it's hourly or project based, typically the issue stems from lack of specifying the parameters. And we do have a question here. Let me address it. Thank you, Adnan. Again, I have a question that's bothering me. How to create network. So how to not sure. You mean how to network with your how to network with like potential leads or potential partners? Just let me know what you mean by how to create network. Like how to network with potential leads. Is that what you mean? But let me go back to the question here, and then I'll get back to you once you clarify. But the idea here is that again, if you have a project based, if you've done again, if you want to sell hourly, again, define the scope and say it will take me anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, or you can give a fixed, it'll be 10, no more than 10 hours, and I'll bill you hourly, and I'll bill you the time I spend. So if I spend 9, I'll bill you 9, but it will be between 8 and 10 this way, or 8 and 12 this way. You set the expectations with the client. The second thing is if you're doing project based, fixed price. I'll do all this work for $5,000. You want to be even. You wanted to provide a whole lot more details, because a lot of people like this concierge level service, project based, $5,000. You do it A to Z. Define what's in A to Z. Once you do that, I think it will save you a lot of time. And then potentially, if you become very efficient in your work, let's say you charge $100 an hour, and you spend 50 hours. You plan on let me say it. Let me do this again. Let's say you charge $100 an hour, and you plan on spending 50 hours on this client, on this project, and then you say, I'll charge the client $5,000. So if you start to become very proficient at what you do, and maybe use AI to automate some of these processes, and you use AI, you use it properly, don't copy and paste things, then you can potentially reduce the number of hours you spend from 50 to 30. So that now you're charging the client 5,000 hours, and instead of spending 50 hours on this client, you're spending 30 hours. Guess what? You now have time to do more work. You have time to take that Sunday off that you were planning on working. You have time to now maybe go after bigger clients and charge $150 an hour, because you can do things more efficiently. So look at it from a from that perspective, is documenting and all the expectations, setting the expectations, putting parameters around your deliverables in terms of timeline, in terms of expectations, in terms of frequency, in terms of the type of work, the type of input and feedback you need from the client for you to do your job right. And that will help you avoid a lot of these issues that to do with losing money on the number of hours, or on the project-based pricing, because it ends up being a whole lot more than one planned for. And we do have, if you go on startupwithfaris.com, and I'll include that link in the description, we do have a whole pillar with probably 20 plus articles on project delivery. So if you're good in sales, or if you figured out sales and you're having problems in delivering to your clients, check out that resource. It's a significant resource. I spent more than 4 months actually putting together this content on everything you need to do to deliver to your clients and make sure your clients are happy with you. So check out that page on their service delivery. All right, so back to Adnan, the question. Yeah, in terms of leads. So the question is that how to network, how to create leads. So again, go back and listen to the generating leads wall that we talked about earlier. But in a minute here, generating leads for freelancers, for business owners, especially initially, or if you're struggling with that, it's just a muscle that you have to exercise. You have to do the reps. So if you're doing things, for example, locally, find local events where you go and meet other business owners and start telling them, sharing with them about what you offer, the problems that you solve. And maybe you can, over time, they get to know you, they see you attending these events consistently, and they start sharing leads with you because now they start to trust you, and then you can reciprocate, right? So most people are not narcissists. Most people are not psychopaths. If you help them and you add value, they'll reciprocate. So being out there, if your market is local, being out there is like going to conferences, going to exhibiting at industry conferences. This is a good way to get leads and just networking. And then if you're doing things online, you can be there's a whole lot of other set of techniques. We talked about cold outreach. We talked about reaching out to your network, online network, for example, ex-colleagues, ex-classmates, ex-roommates, people you work out with, people that your ex-bosses, your vendors, your suppliers. All of us, I think, we all underutilize our network. And again, there's an art on how to do outreach and how to connect with people. So make sure you keep those relationships, connect with people, and then when you need to lean on them to help you, they'll do. Most people do, and then also be there to support them as well. Hope this is helpful. Now, the fourth wall that I said I will reveal at the end here, and it is not about generating leads. It's not about pricing, and it's not about capacity and delivery. It's about something you have a whole lot of control over. It's about mindset. Most people overlook this. Most people overlook this. And we do have a specific scenario and a question from a founder that I want to put on the screen here, and then I'll share how I would address it. And the question is on scaling, on growing. You're welcome, Adnan. You're most welcome. Thank you for being with us here and asking the question. And trust me, it's not just you. We all struggle with getting leads. It takes time, but you'll get there. Just keep going at it. So the question is, this founder, they have an architecture design service. They provide architectural design services. How can I scale up so I can quit my corporate job? So they're doing this on the side, or they're planning on doing this, and they want to scale that business so they can quit their corporate job. So I have a couple of videos on building your financial runway and everything you need to do while you have a job before you start your new job. That we have resources on those. But I want to talk about the concept of taking the leap, that concept of scaling. If you're doing this on the side and you have some business, there's all the stuff we talked about: generating leads, know the pricing, know your target audience, know your market, all that good stuff. But it's something to do, scaling and growth. It's something to do with the mind. Phil, what's his name now? His last name is escaping me. The founder of Nike. I always quote him. Oh my God, Phil Knight. He said, "Life is about growth. You grow or you die." So a lot of business owners struggle with growing their business because they're not thinking about growth all the time, because they don't have that mindset, that growth mindset. There will be a lot of challenges in business, a lot of rejections, especially early on. As a book that an audiobook I just listened to, it's called Fall in Love with the Problem, Not the Solution. He says entrepreneurship is a journey of failures. You have to knock on 100 doors and one of them will open. So that's part of the package. That's part of entrepreneurship. So you can't really scale, you can't really grow if you don't have this growth mindset. And some of us maybe are born with it, but a lot of us, me included, it's something that I had to develop. When I was laid off back in 2003, I had to bring food to the table. I had a young family. The job market was very dry, could not land a job. I started that first business and we struggled a lot, my co-founder and I, and eventually we learned how to sell, and we learned how to deliver, and we learned how to grow. It didn't happen overnight. Despite the threads you see on Reddit or the thumbnails that you see on YouTube about overnight success, this is not the reality. Folks, it takes a lot of hard work to grow a business. So I want you to have this mindset that there'll be failures. There'll be lessons learned from those failures. So resilience is getting back up after you fail. The journey is difficult. If it were easy, everyone would have done it. So going into entrepreneurship with that is really important. Yes, you can work smarter. Yes, you can work, learn from your mistakes. Yes, you can use AI, all of that. But there's still a lot of hard work required for someone to start something from scratch, build it, and grow it. So, aside from all the techniques and all the science of starting and learning and growing a business, the entrepreneurial mindset is really, really important. Again, check out the course we have. Not the course we do have a course on that, but also check out the live stream on the entrepreneurial mindset. And I'll add all these links in the description for those of you who are joining late, and you can access it at your leisure. So the one thing, I think we have one more question here, but yeah, I really wanted to highlight the importance of this wall, this mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, I think it's going to be really difficult for you to stay in this business. All right. So let's see if we have one more question, or we can wrap it up. The last one for today. Can I become a millionaire? So I get a version of this question every once in a while. I started a small business, and is there a path for me to basically financial independence? Can I I make $100,000 a year, and can I become a millionaire, or can I reach financial independence? My answer here is that the short answer is yes, but it's not what you think. Again, it's not the Reddit thread or the YouTube or the Instagram thumbnail or reel that tells you that I make $10,000 a month by doing these 3 easy steps. There's nothing easy about becoming a millionaire. Yes, you can luck out. You can luck out, and your chances of that, I think, are equivalent to the chances of winning the lottery, which you shouldn't be doing. 1 in 293 million. That's the chance of getting lucky. But the rest of it is really hard work, solving a problem that people have and people are willing to pay you for. That is what business is. And assuming that you have the skills, or you acquire the skills that are needed to solve these problems, is what will make you successful. And that concept of learning skills, applying those skills, fine-tuning those skills, and keep going at it, is what will significantly increase your chances of turning this idea into a successful, sustainable, and very profitable business. So yes, you can become a millionaire. You can work in corporate, in a company, small company, and be very disciplined about your spending, because not just about the top line, it's also at the bottom line. It's not how much money you're making, it's how much money you're saving and you're investing. So if you decide, after you listen to all my content, you decide not to pursue the path of entrepreneurship, that's totally okay. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone, but for everyone, I want you to have the financial discipline to fight the urge to buy the latest iPhone, or the latest model of this, or the latest model of that. If you want to achieve financial independence, it does require a lot of sacrifice at one phase in your life, and that sacrifice will pay off over time, and you'll have more resources. So that's my answer to this question on, can I become a millionaire? Yes, and again, it's not all about money. It's good to provide for yourself, for your family, and be independent that way. But also, as you learn new things, as you make more money, make sure you help those around you. A lot of people help us along our way, and it is really important that we also share with others. So my motto is work hard, play hard, give back. And I hope you, as you learn, as you become better, as you make a whole lot more money, and I want to support you making a whole lot of money, I hope you keep those in need in mind and help them and support them. And whatever cause you believe in, whatever area in our society you think needs help, make sure you do something that is also beyond just making a lot of money and hoarding all that money and buying the latest model or the latest car or any of this stuff. Do all of that. If you want, whatever is important to you, do it. Spend money on what you like, but save some and help others. It'll be very, very rewarding. All right, one last question here before we wrap up is on, where's the question? Right here. Can you tell me where is it? Yeah, can you tell me what is the most important skill for entrepreneur? I mean, we talked about it a little bit in terms of resilience. I think this idea. The let me back up. Harvard Business School, HBS, they defined entrepreneurship as this potential opportunity, pursuing opportunity, something worthwhile, while lacking resources. So if you understand this concept that there's an opportunity, there are problems out there that you can solve for other people, and knowing that you won't have all the resources that are needed, just going into entrepreneurship with that mindset is more than half the battle, because then you can figure things out. You can learn, you can watch, you can talk to other founders, you can learn how to navigate all of that. But that mindset of, I'm about to do something big and I need to learn a lot of things and I won't have all the resources. That mindset, I think, is really, really important. So hope you applied. Let me know how it goes as you're applying some of these concepts. Good. Well, that is it for today. Thank you again for tuning in. Again, leave me a question. Email me, Faris@startupaffairs.com. If you have any questions, something maybe very private, you don't want to share it with the world, so you don't want to put it in a comment on social media, you can email me and I will keep all that confidential. And before we wrap up, again, if you're finding this content useful, hit the like button, share this episode, and subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel at Startup with Faris, or whichever platform that you are on. And also, we have our Black Belt Startup program. It is a full curriculum for entrepreneurs to grow and scale and reach their financial independence. We have a full curriculum course. We have a course with weekly office hours if you have questions for me. And then we also have a mini course on pricing. So all of that is available at blackbeltstartup.com. And we have a special promotion for those who listen to the end of these episodes. And that promotion is BBSU 20% off on any of those products that we have on these programs that we have on blackbeltstartup.com. So again, it's BBSU, Black Belt Startup 20, all one word. Good. Thank you so much. And then we'll see you next time.